Well, this is Jared with Stampede Blue. This is your Indianapolis Colts post-game wrap, and the Colts won today at home and beat the Carolina Panthers 38-6 in a game that had actual everything. First, interestingly enough, Colts head coach Frank Reich in March of 1995 signed a contract with a new NFL expansion team, the Carolina Panthers, and started 3 games. And not only is he credited with throwing the first touchdown ever for the Carolina Panthers as an organization, he's also shares a club record with Cam Newton for the most sacks in a game. They both have been sacked 9 times, Frank Reich against Atlanta in his little 3-game stint, before Kerry Collins took over. And Kerry Collins and Frank Reich went to rival high schools in Pennsylvania, although they never played against each other. Now, moving on to today's game, which shall forever be remembered as the Nyheim Hines game. Nyheim Hines had 3 punt returns today for 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. And if it weren't for Brian Banks, he'd have had a third. And that broke a record that had stood since 1956. And then the Colts rushing game had over 200 yards rushing. The Colts defense played out of its shorts today. And I get it, it was against Will Greer making his first start. But today, there was just simply outstanding play all over the field. Pierre Desir had 2 interceptions, should have been 3. Anthony Walker had an interception. He also had 10 tackles. So did Darius Leonard had 11. Bobby Okereke, rookie, future Hall of Famer, says Pat McAfee, had 10 tackles. And then the Colts, again, had 3 interceptions, 5 sacks. Al-Qadim Muhammad had 2. Grover Stewart had 1. Justin Houston had 1. And Anthony Walker had 1. And I want to bring up a point. A lot of people talk about Darius Leonard being an outstanding NFL linebacker. It's about time you start talking about Anthony Walker. The guy averages close to double-digit tackles every game. And yeah, he doesn't make some of the flashy plays that Darius Leonard's made, but he played out of his shorts today. And then Jacoby Brissett completed a pass to himself, and I'm afraid that's about the highlight for the passing game today. There wasn't much to look at. There were a lot of drops, and it must be said, I don't believe T.Y. Hilton is 100%. He had 3 catches for 26 yards. I think that since Jack Doyle has signed his contract extension, that he's become a target for defenders, and that's probably why he got punched in the head and that guy got kicked out of the game today. But yeah, the real talk of this football game will be Nyheim Hines and then the Colts defense basically not allowing Christian McCaffrey to do much. And yeah, he had 15 catches for 115 yards, but that's what the Colts defense wants, to put the quarterback in a position to dump the ball off to let their more athletic defenders make tackles for no gain. And yeah, like I said, if there were a game you would have gone to where you got your money's worth, today was that game, and like I said, people are going to be like, well, it was against Will Greer and the Carolina Panthers, who are clearly just have fallen off without Cam Newton or Kyle Allen, and that's fair. But the Colts, 7-8, they get to end their season against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who lost to the Atlanta Falcons today, 24-12. And there were some injuries. I noticed Kari Willis went down, Darius Leonard stepped off, and Quentin Nelson went out with concussion symptoms and didn't return. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. But it's worth mentioning that I feel like today, the way the Colts played is because this is about the healthiest they'd been. And they're probably super motivated. Nobody wants to play on a team that has a losing season. So yeah, obviously I'm really happy that the Colts got a win. You know, here we are 3 days before Christmas. That's a nice gift and a convincing win at that. And then, of course, I think the future is really bright. And a lot of people are going to talk about Jacoby Brissett. And it's worth pointing out that I think that his play decreased after he got hurt and missed a couple games. Additionally, and I've been saying it all year long, the wide receiver corps has been really banged up. And if the Colts were healthy, you probably wouldn't really know the names Zach Pascal and Marcus Johnson, who both today dropped balls they should have absolutely caught. And I think that given an off season, it's fair to think, hey, the Colts will absolutely draft a quarterback, Jordan Love, and then Jacoby will still start next year, but should he struggle like he has since he's been injured, I think that they put a young quarterback in a prime position to come in and take over and show him what you got. Because clearly it's not Brian Hoyer, and no, it's not Chad Kelly. So that being said, this is Jared with Stampede Blue. This has been your Indianapolis Colts post-game wrap. Enjoy the rest of the games. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, I guess. And we'll see you after next week's game. Go Colts!